Not because we are failing, not because we are failing. You are not failing. Repeat after me. I am not failing. I am not failing. I am not failing. I am not failing. So it's not because you're failing. It's because you're measuring yourself in the wrong season.
You're listening to the Akinfemi Onadele Show, where we believe in today's fast-paced world, investing in your overall well-being is the most important decision you can make. Join us alongside a variety of guests as we discuss topics empowering you to become the best version of yourself. Enjoy.
We're living in peculiar times. Between rising inflation and the pressure to perform, it's so easy to let anxiety take the driver's seat. I know the feeling. When you're carrying every goal, every worry, and every to-do only in your head. But here's the truth. Even when you feel like you've messed up, it is not the end of the world. That is exactly why I created the LDP bracelet. It's more than inspiration jewelry. It's a tool to center yourself. It's a stylish reminder that stays on you and with you at all times, moving the commitment to learning, doing, and progressing from just a thought in your mind to a physical weight on your wrist. We only have 28 pieces available in this limited run. If you need a physical anchor to keep you pushing through these times, go to the link in the show notes right below. Stop carrying it all in your head. Start wearing your progress.
Welcome to the Akinfemi Onadele Show. TAOS. This season, we're exploring time wealth. It's not about productivity or getting things done. Hey, I finished this. I have a checklist. I ticked everything off. No, it's not about that. It's about a way of living. Why is it about a way of living? Because we know so far, if you've been tuning in, Everyday Heroes, that real time wealth isn't about having more hours. It's about the wisdom to give time what matters the most. And today we're talking about one of the biggest thieves of peace: comparing your season to someone else's. Let's begin. Over the last few episodes, we've been talking about something everybody has, but not everybody understands. I'm the first person to put up my hand. And what is it? Time. Time. We've discovered that perhaps you're not behind. Episode 12. We've also discovered that time is limited, but desire isn't. That leaves us with an even more important question. So if I cannot do everything, how do I know what I should be doing right now? Because if we are being honest, many of us are not exhausted. We are lazy. I was just joking. We're not lazy. It's not because we are lazy. It's not because we lack discipline. It's because we're trying to succeed in every area of our lives at the same time. Exactly. And if you are just tuning to this episode, please check out the previous episodes. We gave different examples of all things we're trying to do that are all worthy. From trying to build a business, to raising children, to being the best husband or wife in the world, to being healthy and all that. But somehow, we want to do everything before Friday, just in 168 hours, 24 hours times 7. But that is a lot, because that might not be the problem. The problem is not your capacity, your ability to, the things you can do, everything you can do. Because if you even if you do everything you need to do, the end result is that you're just overwhelmed and exhausted. What if, dear listener, your problem is what you're expecting, expectation? Nature has never expected every tree to bear all the fruits. Not only that, if it was even just, okay, you're an apple tree, nature does not expect that you bear these fruits all year round. I'm recording this on the 9th of July 2026. This is bang smack at the beginning of the second half of the year. There's a season for planting, there's a season for growth, there's a season for pruning, there's a season for harvest. Yet somehow we are convincing ourselves that if every part of our lives isn't growing, thriving, at the same time, we don't fail. We're failing. No. I do not believe that is true. I do not believe that is true. I do not believe that is true. I believe every season has an assignment, and I believe that wisdom is knowing what deserves your best in this season. So today I want us to explore this simple question. What season are you in? Because when you stop fighting your season, you stop chasing balance, and you begin to experience something deeper, soul alignment. Let's begin. Let me let you know something. As I was preparing for this episode, I realized that sometimes we teach ideas all podcasters and subject matter experts, they know. We teach ideas, but it's not because we have mastered them. Other times it's because we are living them. Other times it's because we want to master them. Okay? But in this case, it's because we are living them. And for me, this episode is not the second one. It is, or the third one. It is that the last few weeks have been full. Not necessarily because I've taken on more work, but because, simply life has been asking for more. I've been producing this season of TAOS, working on the Time Wealth Audit Workbook, building the Time Wealth Challenge through the workbook, trying to implement it in my life. Staying healthy, thank God I started the year doing that, and everybody that was doing the Physical Wealth Challenge is with me right there. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to all the coaches. Shout out to everyone that participated. Shout out to, I love all of you who are together. And if you're new, of course, we are still together. But then, most importantly is, for me, just getting to know AO. Akinfemi is being focused on being present as a husband and a father. But this is where it gets interesting. Okay? A few years ago, it was business that slowed me down a little. Because for some reason, even though I had this $5 million goal, I was more invested in my family as someone that got married not too long ago. I can see my anniversary staring me in the face, being that it was July that I got married. And I'm recording this in July. That being said, I probably would have thought something was wrong. I probably would have felt very guilty that, momentum, which is one of my favorite motivations, just momentum. Sometimes all you need to do is to start. As an entrepreneur, all you need to do is to start. That's momentum. So I would feel like, okay, if I'm ignoring something that's very important that I haven't done it in a while, 1 week, I'm losing momentum. And just like you, dear listener, I felt like I was standing still. But today, I've seen things differently, because I've realized something, that it is not every season that is asking the same thing of you. There are seasons that your business needs more of you. There are seasons that your business needs more of you. There are seasons when your health needs more of you. There are seasons when your marriage needs more of you, for our married people, everyday heroes. There are seasons when your children need more of you than anything else. I definitely know what that means. Shout out to my nephew, who is doing a great job. He's now one of the best in his class. But I remember in the beginning, when we started working together, there was a season where he needed to focus so much. And there was a season I needed to give him so much, which coincided when I became a full-time entrepreneur. There are seasons day. May God give us the wisdom to recognize the season we're in. Amen. So when your children need more of you more than anything else, there's a season. There's the mistake, dear listener, isn't giving one area more attention. The mistake, you have mistaken it, is expecting that every area receives equal attention at all the time. So if you're listening to me, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. Shout out to my good friend and mentor when I started my career in investment banking, Philip, who told me, Femi, don't reinvent the wheel if you cannot create a better wheel. It was only after about 7 years that I really understood what he said, when he had moved on to bigger things. The mistake, ladies and gentlemen, case you are still young and you don't think you're a lady, boys and girls, the mistake is expecting every area to receive equal attention all the time. If you are expecting that from my purview, I can tell you, somebody that is staring 40 in the face, that expectation does not create peace, it creates guilt. And maybe that's why so many of us are feeling. Not because we are failing, You are not failing. Repeat after me. I am not failing. I am not failing. I am not failing. I am not failing. So it's not because you're failing, it's because you're measuring yourself in the wrong season. So when I look at nature, I am not failing. Nature is not failing. Nature is just nature. Nature is... And when I look at nature, I do not see balance. I see seasons. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 NIV. I love Ecclesiastes. I wish I could read it more, but I'll tell you, even though I've not read it that much, it's spot on. Ecclesiastes, Solomon, the writer, who's attributed to be the writer of Ecclesiastes, talks about, he illustrates with words. That's a very good book. He illustrates the different seasons. There's a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace. So what is the realization that came to me as I reflected and I prepared for this episode? It's the ideas of seasons. It's not about psychology, it's not about productivity, it's about God. It's about the words that I just spoke about. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. And let's pause. Read that again in your mind. To everything there is a season. Not some things. Everything. And that's fascinating. It is quite amazing. Because God never promised that every area of your life would flourish at the same time. He simply promised that everything has its time. I don't need to do it again. It's time to plant, it's time to harvest, it's time to build, it's time to tear down, it's time to mourn, it's time to dance. Just notice something. Planting and harvesting never have the same day. It's not happening on the same day. Yes, many of us are trying to do exactly that. We're trying to plant a business, marriage, help, raise children. I can go on and on. Perhaps wisdom is not trying to escape this season that we're in. Wisdom is learning to recognize the season that we're in. Recognize. And there's another voice that is... No, sorry. It's not a voice. It's the verse of the Bible. Habakkuk 2 verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. An appointed time. An appointed time is not my time. An appointed time is not my Instagram's time, not my classmates' time, not my neighbor's time. God's appointment time. And I wonder how much anxiety would disappear if everyday hero, you and I, stop comparing ourselves to people living completely different seasons from us. Maybe the question isn't, why am I behind? Maybe the better question isn't, why am I behind? Maybe the better question is, what is God asking of me in this season? Because when you know the answer to that question, you stop chasing everything and you start becoming faithful to the one thing. A few weeks ago, I had coffee with a good friend of mine Coach Dan. Returning listeners know who Coach Dan is. He had been unusually quiet on social media. So I asked him a simple question. Where have you been? His answer reminded me exactly of what living in your season looks like.
Elder sister or younger sister, then they traveled to their state.
Person old or young? That
I don't know how old their mom is, but I think the person should be their mom, direct elder sister.
so
You understand?
resting.
So and
So
the
you now to step up more with the kids.
yeah, and the children's school is actually close by to their house. You understand? So because they are traveling and the children are traveling, I had to pick the children so they will stay with me until they come back.
What about that woman's children now? Are they grown?
Yeah?
The woman that passed on, are children grown?
Okay, the pastor, I don't know. I don't
much
have any
about-
relationship with her, so I don't even know about it.
Alright,
So you understand? So, anyways, they all traveled to the village for that, and then been out for about almost a month with some other couple of other things they wanted to do in the village. Anyways, so I have to be a father, I have to be a nanny, I have to be with family. So a lot of distractions. You know, where you have to wake up in the morning, I have to attend to your kids. Then at the same time, I have to go to work. Then at the same time, I have to bond with families. Extended families are coming in. It's crazy. Then at the same time, I'm taking a particular class in my church. Then at the same time, I still have to meet with a lot of clients. I tend to, because I have different clients with different time difference. And it has been the story of my life for the past 2 weeks. It's a mixed feelings for
Ask
me.
him another question. Do you think something needs to change?
What is wrong with the system? Nothing needs to be fixed. It's just the model that you have.
So where it as well now comes inside this whole thing is now where the balancing is. You understand? So as much as I'm stressed out, I don't just have to say it as well, and it's because I know obviously it as well won't fix it. I have to be intentional. So yeah, so that is one thing about it as well. Instead of now accepting it as well, now you now have to be intentional about whatever you get. So now, boy, I've told myself that okay, this is the situation at the moment. I won't tell myself it is well. I will tell myself I would just try to enjoy, not to endure the situation. You understand?
And as he was responding, something became very clear to me. So I said to him, nothing needs to be fixed. It's just the model you have. Let's pause and think about that. Nothing needs fixing. His season had changed. His priorities had changed. His calendar had changed. But somewhere along the way, he started believing that because his business wasn't moving at its usual speed, maybe something was wrong. Then he said something I'll never forget. I've decided, Akifemi, not to endure this season alone. I'm going to enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, I love that. I love that. Because so many of us are spending our lives trying to escape the very season God is asking us to embrace. I realized something. The world might have looked at Coach Dan and said, this man is distracted. Me, I did not do. I thought this is a devoted man. And that's a big difference. Because distraction is when something pulls you away from what matters. And of course, what matters to everybody is different. The least we can do is to figure out what matters to us the most based on our top values. Devotion is when something important temporarily receives more of your attention. His children were not a distraction. His family wasn't a distraction. His season wasn't asking something different of him. And he finally gave himself the permission to answer.
You know, I think one of the biggest mistakes we've made is believing that life is made up of light switches. Either you're succeeding or you're failing. Either you're fully present or you're neglecting that area. Either your career is thriving or your career is dying. But I don't think life works in light switches. I think life works like dimmer switches. Imagine every important area of your life has its own dimmer switch. Your relationship with God, your family, your health, your finances, your work, even your friendships. You don't actually switch them completely off. Instead, you intentionally decide which one needs the brightest light this season. Maybe in this season, your family needs most of your attention. Maybe your health needs to become your brightest light. Maybe your social life is not over. It's simply receiving enough attention so it doesn't wither and die. And that's the goal. Not perfect balance, but preventing atrophy. Making sure no area of your life is neglected for so long that it becomes difficult to restore. And that's exactly what Coach Daniel was doing. His family wasn't interrupting his life. His family, it was his assignment for that season. His business didn't stop. It moved into maintenance. Social media didn't disappear forever. It simply wasn't the brightest light in that season. Everyday heroes, how much peace would come into your life if we stopped trying to turn every switch to 100% and instead asked, God, which light needs to shine the brightest this season? Because when you answer this question honestly, you stop chasing balance, you stop comparing, you stop apologizing for your season, and you begin living in soul alignment.
This conversation reminded me of an ancient story that I read recently. A story about a man who spent his life reaching for everything, yet never quite grasped anything. I only learned about this story from reading the book Indistractable, which I had already mentioned that I read him in the off-season by Nir Eyal. Let's talk about Tantalus. Enjoy.
The ancient Greeks immortalized the story of a man who was perpetually distracted. We call something that is desirable but just out of reach tantalizing, after his name. The story goes that Tantalus was banished to the underworld by his father Zeus as a punishment. There he found himself wading in a pool of water while a tree dangled ripe fruit above his head. But when Tantalus tried to pluck the fruit, the branch moved away, far from him, in fact, always just out of reach. When he bent down to drink the cool water, it receded, so that he could never quench his thirst. Tantalus's punishment was to yearn for things he desired but could never grasp. Today's distractions feel different. The speed and ubiquity of new content on our devices has created a poverty of attention. But you can't call something a distraction unless you know what exactly it's distracting you from. To be the person you want to be, you have to make time to live your values. Traction draws you toward what you want in life, while distraction pulls you away. The most effective way to make time for traction is through time boxing. Deciding what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. By defining how we spend our time and syncing with the stakeholders in our lives, we ensure that we do the things that matter and ignore the things that don't.
Everyday hero, my question to you is, what season are you actually in? What does your current season demand of you? So let's have this season audit. 1, my current season is. 2, my primary assignment is. 2, my primary assignment is. 3, my maintenance assignments are.
my maintenance assignments are. And finally, for one thing I'll intentionally postpone this week is, and as simple as that, you can now apply the dimmer switch to get the most out of the season you're in while living, at least until next time, what is for another season. You're not failing. You have just measured yourself successfully. Congratulations. Nature doesn't expect you to do everything. Nature does not grow all year round. There's a time to grow, there's a time to plant, there's a time to harvest. So well done.
Thanks for listening to the Akinfemi Onadele Show. Check out www.akinfemionadele.com for more info, articles, and ideas about how to boost your well-being.